Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to learn about the Highway 1 State Park Drive to Freedom Boulevard, Auxiliary Lanes, Bus on Shoulder, and Coastal Rail Trail Segment 12 project. My name is Katie DeMeo, and I have the pleasure of welcoming you all. If you have any questions or comments at any time, please feel free to reach out via email. In this presentation, you'll hear from several members of the project team. Sarah Christensen is the project manager from Santa Cruz County Regional Transportation Commission. She's going to give us an overview of the proposed project, the funding update, and schedule. Christine Anderson is the lead landscape architect for Mark Thomas and will guide us through an exploration of the aesthetic design theme and four-year options for input. In this presentation, we'll go over what the project is. We're going to review prior design elements from previous segments, present you the aesthetic inspiration and draft aesthetic designs, and ask for your feedback on several project aesthetic elements. Please share your thoughts on the proposed design aesthetics in the comment box below, via email, or by voting in the survey. Now let's begin. Sarah?
Thank you, Katie. The proposed project is the third phase along the corridor that will construct a bus on shoulder and auxiliary lane facility along Highway 1 in partnership with Caltrans District 5, our transit district Santa Cruz Metro, and the County of Santa Cruz. Northbound and southbound auxiliary lanes and bus on shoulder improvements will be constructed between State Park Drive and Freedom Boulevard interchanges. Coastal Rail Trail Segment 12 will also be constructed, connecting to western segments of the rail trail at State Park Drive, running through Aptos Village and ending at Rio Del Mar Boulevard. The 1.25 mile bicycle and pedestrian trail crosses the highway in 2 locations and over Aptos Creek, Valencia Creek, and Soquel Drive, with a total of 4 dedicated trail bridges. The existing railroad bridges that extend over the highway will also be replaced with longer span bridges to accommodate the improvements along Highway 1. Currently, the project is expected to complete the final design phase in late 2024, with construction activities beginning in 2026. The project team needs to hear your input on some of the key design elements to make sure the project fits within the context of our community. Before we ask for your feedback, let's begin by showing some of the inspiration and corridor-wide design elements that have already been selected. Christine?
Thanks, Sarah. As Sarah mentioned, previous segments have set a tone for many of the design elements. As part of the previous highway design from the Bay Avenue to State Park Drive project, a gateway into Aptos was identified at the Mar Vista pedestrian overcrossing. And for this segment, we've added the possibility of placing a similar future community identifier at the Rio Del Mar Boulevard overcrossing as a gateway from the south. This allows for the 2 rail trail bicycle pedestrian overcrossings between them to have their own unique character that blends with the architectural theme of the town of Aptos. All of the elements shown here are consistent with previous highway segments and intended to be easily constructed and maintained within the highway corridor. The proposed plant palette consists of native drought-tolerant trees, vines, and shrubs. The aesthetics for the rail trail were inspired by design elements within Aptos and adapted to a theme we're calling Bridging the Kelp Forest to the Terrestrial Forest. This takes inspiration from the existing rail bridges, historic character of Aptos, and the surrounding landscapes of the ocean and blends it, bridging it, with ocean influences of waves and kelp, so prevalent in the seascape and Rio Del Mar communities, and previous highway segments and the forest of Nicene Marks State Park. These renderings show the designs of the South Aptos Bridge bicycle pedestrian overcrossing and rail underpass, which will be duplicated for the North Aptos rail and rail bridges. A new overcrossing will be constructed next to the rail bridges to make a continuous rail trail through Aptos. The design combines the rustic industrial look of the rail line through the metal fence posts and brackets with nature-inspired formliner and misty redwoods-inspired privacy panels. The privacy panel, masonry formliner, kelp formliner, and girder formliner are all options for consideration in the survey. These renderings show the aesthetics for the two bridges crossing Valencia Creek and Aptos Creek and Soquel Drive within the rail trail corridor. The aesthetic treatment blends existing trail bridge work with the rustic elements of the rail corridor and will be constructed with a prefab metal truss with cable railing. The privacy panel and potential mural locations will be options for your consideration. As with the highway corridor, the trail corridor uses many elements consistent with the previous rail trail segments. Where space and opportunity exist, these elements will be incorporated within the rail trail. Katie?
Thanks, Christine. All right, this is where we need your help. Now that we have reviewed the highway and trail inspiration and the corridor-wide design elements, we will review the concepts that we're looking for feedback on today. So get out your cell phones, scan the QR code right here on the screen, click on the link below to access the survey. As a reminder, many ways to leave your feedback, either in the comment section below, via email, or by the voting survey. And feel free to revisit this video if you need more time to reflect on the options. Next up, Christine's going to walk us through the 8 elements where we need your feedback. Christine?
The first feature for voting is the bridge privacy panel options for the fencing on the highway, bicycle pedestrian overcrossings, and rail underpasses, and at the Valencia Creek near the private property. These will be placed wherever bridges abut private property and to screen out views from highway traffic from the overcrossings, yet create an appealing visual from the drivers along the freeway and local roads. The 3 options include ombre trees, quiet woods, abstract redwoods. All 3 would be constructed out of perforated or laser cut metal panels and painted or stained to match other metal elements. The second feature is the masonry formliner. This formliner will be used at retaining and abutment walls near the 4 pedestrian bridges of the rail trail and 2 rail underpasses. The 2 options are granite masonry, stone masonry. Both would be constructed out of natural concrete. The next element is the kelp formliner. This formliner will be used at retaining walls facing Spreckles Drive, Moosehead Drive, and as an inset within select bridge pilasters. The 2 formliner texture options are abstract kelp and realistic kelp. Both would be constructed out of natural concrete. The next item is the girder formliner. This formliner will be used to break up the widened girder faces of the highway overpasses and rail underpasses. These 2 formliner texture options include rivets and 3D texture. Both would be constructed of a darker, warm gray stained concrete. The sound wall block color and texture will be consistent with the previous segments, but the possibility of adding metal cutouts to the walls is up for a vote. The sound wall is in 2 locations along the highway. The 2 sound wall options are no additional treatment or misty redwood metal cutouts facing the highway and at key locations where the sound wall is visible from the local roads. Metal cutouts would be constructed out of laser cut metal and treated to match other metal elements. There will be 1 significant location for an upgraded highway access control fence. This location occurs along Moosehead Drive at the top of an aesthetically treated retaining wall and will prevent access onto the highway. The 2 fence options are black vinyl coated chain link, patina stained welded wire mesh. This retaining wall faces the rail trail near Sumner Avenue. It is necessary to preserve trees at the top of the slope and create a terraced trail under the Rio Del Mar Avenue Bridge. It extends approximately 700 feet in length and has a maximum height of approximately 19 feet. There are several options for this wall. Kelp formliner, as previously voted on, a public art mural, sculpted shotcrete to match the highway corridor, or timber lagging. Regardless of the aesthetic option selected, this wall will require safety railing at the top. The aesthetic focus team and community stakeholders recommended using public art where there were reasonable opportunities. Due to the significant number of retaining walls and abutments facing local roads and within the rail trail corridor, the team elected to focus this effort on mural placement. Now we need your help in prioritizing murals within the corridor. We have 5 key locations listed in the survey. Place those locations in priority order, with 1 being your first priority and 5 being the last priority where you want to see murals. These locations are murals visible from local roads, for instance, new bridge abutments visible from Soquel and Spreckles Drive. Murals visible from the rail trail, like Retaining Wall 101 on the last slide. Murals visible from private properties toward the rail trail. An example is near 9000 Aptos Street. Murals on existing and new Bridge Creek columns. Or murals visible from public properties toward the rail trail. An example is at the retaining wall facing Aptos County Park.
Thanks again, Christine. We look forward to hearing your thoughts on these proposed design features. Again, there are many ways to provide your comments to the design team. You can vote using the survey accessible by the QR code right here on the screen. You can provide written comment via email to the link below. Or you can join us December 5th at the Rio Sands Hotel for our open house. Comments are going to be accepted all the way up until December 28th, 2023. Thank you again for learning more about the Highway 1 State Park Drive to Freedom Boulevard, Auxiliary Lanes, Bus on Shoulder, and Coastal Rail Trail Segment 12 project. We look forward to receiving your feedback. Goodbye, everyone.